That timetable will be largely determined by when the legislation is ready. But when the legislation is ready to go, Labor is ready to make sure that the Parliament is able to meet and we can get this done. The final thing that I'd say with respect to my own portfolios is there will be large sections of people who are involved in the arts and entertainment industries that this doesn't reach. There are some sections of the economy that can only be helped during a period of massive dislocation by a package direct for that industry, and we continue to call on the government to do just that.
So is Labor suggesting also that casuals who have worked with a firm for a period of less than 12 months, should they be eligible for the JobKeeper subsidy?
The issue that you raised there about casuals who've worked for less than 12 months is an issue that's being raised with us by both workers and by businesses, I have to say, who rely on a workforce like that. Today, I'm not going to start picking the package apart. A very large number of Australians are better off as a result of yesterday's announcement. We'll work through the detail, and the issue of casuals who haven't been employed for a full 12 months and businesses that rely on that workforce is one of the issues that we'll be looking at really carefully. But today, having called for something that the government was ruling out as recently as last Friday, I just want to make clear the extent to which Labor is welcoming this and wanting to see the passage of legislation.
So Jim Chalmers also appeared to mention the May 1st date of the delivery of payments is potentially an issue. So does this mean that Labor wants that date brought forward, and have they asked the government to look into this?
On the issue of those payments, you'd have to go to Jim Chalmers on that. I'm not across that detail for today's presser, I'm sorry.
Sorry, are there questions from the...
Was there a question on the phone? We're just checking before we stay here in the room.
Can you hear me? It's Paddy Manning from the Monthly here, Tony, if I can ask a question.
Sure, Paddy.
Yeah, there's some commentary last week that what we saw last week was a decisive break in the bipartisanship because Anthony Albanese came out and said that the priority should be health and then economy in that order, and that this was a break with the government. Can you please reflect on that?
Well, they're not mutually exclusive. It's not like you look after the health issues and then separately you look after the economic issues. The best thing you can do to have a strong economy is to have a healthy Australia. And that's why, if you get the health response right here, then the economic response becomes a much easier pathway. And I was with Anthony at that presser here in Sydney that day, and that was the exact focus that we were making. If you pigeonhole the two, you can miss the point a bit, in the sense that the best thing for the Australian economy will always be a healthy nation, and focusing on getting those health calls right is critical to making sure that we end up with the best economic response as well.
Can I just ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, sure.
Labor wouldn't seek to campaign for re-election on the basis that the government had, the death toll was too high from coronavirus, surely?
Look, I think if anyone right at this point is thinking about the next election, then they're missing the point. The nation's in a crisis right now, and our role entirely is to make sure that when the government puts forward something that's good, that we are there to make sure it can happen as quickly as possible, and where we can see gaps, like we did with the wage subsidy, we argue it, and when the government says no, that won't happen, we keep arguing it, we keep making the case, so that both for business and for workers we can get outcomes like we got yesterday.
I don't want to hold it alone.
Yep.
Hey Tony, it's Brett Mason from SBS. Sorry to jump in.
Yep.
The new world we're living in. One quick question, just on the working visas and the JobKeeper payment. We know that there is a special exemption for New Zealanders of the 444 visa. Do you think that should be broadened to other nationalities, particularly workers from the Pacific? And just a second question on Australian citizens and residents who are overseas. We've seen some pretty deteriorating scenes in India and Peru, for example. Should more be being done to get those Australians home quickly and safely?
Penny Wong's been working constructively with the government on trying to make sure that we can get the best possible outcome for Australians overseas, and that constructive work is exactly what needs to happen. The people working in DFAT and working at the different posts have a challenge quite different to what their normal work has been. And so we're working constructively with the government, and Penny Wong is leading that. In terms of the part of your question that goes to the different visas beyond New Zealanders, they're some of the issues that we'll be working through in consultation over the coming days and weeks. We need to get the legislation, and we're also getting comments back from business and workers very quickly about who might be missing out and what might need to be done there. So we reserve the right to deal with all of those issues, but I don't want to step away from the fact that today there is an announcement made yesterday that we've been calling for that will change hundreds of thousands of lives and will make the Australian economy one that is much better able to get moving again on the other side of this crisis. We called for it, the government's done it, and we welcome it.